Join myself and King as remedy. Together we will devour the very core.
Hello, welcome. I just wanted to showcase Johnny. I know it's like for me it's been a few hours since I got back up, and I popped up the game and then got Johnny. I didn't get the season pass. I just got the character itself because right now I'm broke. I just wanted to show you a few things that you can pull off with Johnny. Man, I can't speak proper English today for some reason. Okay, so quickly, he doesn't have glitter coin anymore. He doesn't have the misfiner cancels that he used to have in XR. So for example, he's was very notorious for going into, let's say, misfiners and then going into the cancel into another attack. So if he did, as you can see, it's slow. There's a delay in between trying to then attack with a normal button to then attempt to go into a normal of some kind. So yeah, like I'm trying to press the buttons quickly enough to then go into the normal, but I just can't. There's a delay. So now Johnny isn't as strong as he used to be in Xrd or even in plus R, where he was very prevalent in utilizing his misfiners to cancel them into normals to apply frame traps. So what I think is your better option is instead of utilizing misfiners into cancels, I mean you still have uses with this. It depends. Like if you really need to cancel out your misfinder because you're maybe gonna not get the confirm correctly, or if you have to stop yourself midway because of the way the opponent's going to attack. So it still has its uses, just that not exactly like it used to be in Xrd or in plus R. So instead, what you're going to be using most often is instead misfiner dash canceling. So let's say, for example, the enemy's attacking or blocking, I should say. You can just cancel in into your dash from misfiner and then attempt to go into pressure. So, for example, you can do something like that. So this is a bit more prevalent. Now, of course, it has its weaknesses. If you try to dash in, you're likely to get grabbed. If they're not pressured enough, then they can just go for a 6P or they can attempt to go into a close slash. So it's not as good as it used to be. So this is more situational or more depending on the overall pressure game of the opponent. If they feeling like if they're not respecting you, then they can just basically just start pressing buttons on you whenever, and that's gonna be hard for Johnny. But if it's the case of that they are respecting you and they don't want to press buttons because they're too scared, then yeah, doing something like this, attacking them, and then let's say you condition them to go into something like this or into grabs, you can then pull that off more neatly. Again, if you want to go for your misfinder cancel into normals, you can still do so. It's just not as good as it used to be. So you can try doing it, just that it's not going to be as good. Now, in terms of setups, from what I can say, from what I've tested, going into, let's say, your knockdown, into your card throw, which is called what? I think it's called deal. Your dealer or deal? Yeah, deal. So when you throw out your card in deal, you can do all of your shenanigans with Mistminer. It will then bound them in the air, going for more combo opportunities, or if they're blocking, in this case, it will guard crush them. So it gives you a lot of plus frames to then apply more pressure to the target. So it's very easy to do this, but the issue is that unlike with Glitter Coin, that again I feel it was better than this, with the deal card, it actually had a hitbox. So now if you throw out your deal and doesn't hit them, they can just, decide, oh, I don't give a damn about your card. I'm gonna move in and just close slash you. Or if not, then if they are playing a class character that has decent zoning like Kai and just far slash you, they can just far slash you and get like a confirm from stun dip or something like that, right? So it's like not as good as glitter coin, but it's still something. So instead, you're not gonna be throwing this out. At least if you're someone like a beginner or intermediate player, you're not gonna be throwing this out in the mid screen. So if you're here, for example, you may throw it out and attempt to bait out the target, or if they're, let's say, kind of air dash and you just do this and try to catch them off guard, you can attempt that. But I feel like now the cards are more of a set play type of deal than it is of like how in with the glitter coin that you can use it as a pressure game to then use up your resource, get in close, and then throw out a glitter coin while they're knocked down to get the LTG and then get level 2 Mistfinder. And that's what you really want with Johnny in the previous games. Now it's not like that anymore. Now it's like if you get knocked down, okay, apply pressure with meaty, and then you go with the low if you need to, or if instead, you can go instead do, from what I can tell, this into that. Whatever the case that you might be going for, you can even try to go into, not that, sorry, and do stuff like that, I guess. So it's not as good as it used to be. Now, what they instead done to Johnny, at least from my perspective, again, I'm not someone who knows about frames, or that shit. I just know what I can tell from what I've tested, what works. So now, with vaulting, you can apply your vault in previous games and then use Y-handed to apply a little bit of pressure or for damage or finisher damage. Now instead, you would use this more often than not for more set play. So for example, let's say if the target isn't blocking, and let's say you were to go for, I don't know, like a close slash into 2H, which is your basically your bread and butter way of going for the bound. You can throw the card down and get that. So if let's say, and you don't do anything else, now you have the card placed on already for you. So now you have ways to pressure the target and just go for the misfinders that you want. This would also include, for example, if they're gonna low crouch you, because you still have the opportunity to go into your air misfinders and then try to catch them if they're crouch blocking, and with the card, now you have a bound that allows you to then combo right after. The other thing you can try doing as well, if, you know, with vaulting, you can also go for the grab to mix them up. You can go into a vault into 2K. You can go into a vault into close slash. If they, again, feel like you're gonna attempt to go for the card. If they're not, then you can go for either of these three options. Though the close slash, not so much, since it's not really a mix-up. They can just block. Or if they think that you're gonna go grab, I say go. If they think that you're about to grab them, then you'll just get caught by the grab. So instead, let's say for example that if the enemy were to assume that you're about to go into the vault and then go for the card. If they're not blocking, then you know, ample opportunity to go for more defense, more offensive means of pressure. But if you time this, you can go for stuff like that, where you're able to then essentially pick up the attack from there and go for combos. Now, the combo route for this is actually very low. It's not exactly all that high. You can do something like that, or this, for more damage. Or you can do that, though it's a little harder though, but you get more carry. Or you can do that. Or you can get more damage doing that instead. So it's very limited to how much you can really pull off with Johnny if you were to use Vault into the card throw. Same thing could be said with the aerial version of the card that I messed up doing. But if you're closer to the corner, then yeah, you can get more out of it than not.
Positive bonus.
But you have to confirm reliably if the target's gonna be closer to the wall, so that you can perform that combo and get damage. What else can I really say about Johnny? I guess if you decide to do this instead, this is negative. They have ample time to then attack you, even if you hit them. So let's say the enemy were to attack you with punch. I tried attacking there. I tried going for my punch. That wasn't it. Yeah, doesn't matter. I even tried going for 6p. So maybe let's Mythbuster and see if I can do the overdrive. Nope, didn't have enough time. Try to do the other one, didn't work. So this card throw isn't really all that good. If you try utilizing it like this instead, then you may have time to block. Let's try and make Kai go for this instead. Yeah, you have ample time to then block if you do it that way. So instead, if you want to get something out of the card, you have to do it close enough to where you're able to then hit them with the first hit and then the second hit with the card going down. That is the only way it would probably be safe to then attack the target. As you saw. So only if you time it though, because you can't do it like if you're right here. They can still just punch you. But you may have ample time to go for 6B. So you have to time it correctly to where you're slightly almost touching the ground. That might happen. You may clash. It's very strict timing. It's a very strict timing to really pull this off. So you don't really use this. It's not very consistent. So unless you have like godly timing and execution, then yeah, you probably may be able to do it. But doing it from vault into the card, you might get a 6p. And if they're throwing punch, then chances are you can still beat them out with 2k. But it gets beaten out anyways with 2p, so chances are you're not gonna be able to survive the attempt at going into the vault. If I even attempt to go for 6p, it won't even work. Okay, never mind. It does work. It just fucking depends on timing, which I don't have. For some reason it didn't work there. Either way, you get the point. It's very strict. The timing is very strict to get it to work, which makes me think that Johnny on defense, or at least on the offense, against a defensive player is going to be very difficult to apply Vault into the card throw. So using Vault into this, it's very difficult. Very difficult. And since they can just simply just, attack you and push block you while you're blocking, you won't be able to then apply any of your misfinders. At least the low one once the card is already thrown down, so the only real thing you can really do with this, and this is probably why they decided not to make it plus on block, even if you time it at the most, is if you have to use meter. That's probably the only real means of applying the card and stay safe and apply some pressure with it. That's the only way you can go about it, I would assume. So its real use seems to me is in combos or as a setup. So for example, let's say one of the combo routes you can go with Johnny is doing this. You can do that, right? Now, once the card is placed down, you know, you have time to then apply whatever it is you want to apply. Now, the card just disappeared on me as I was about to do the Misfinder. But if you do the Misfinder and the card is thrown down on the ground and they're blocking, you get God Crush. That gives you some time to then apply some level of pressure. Maybe you can throw another card if they're too pressured and just attempt to go for the mid Misfinder, or just throwing the card out and then decide to, not that, into a regular cancel and then attempt to go into a close slash or either a 2K or even 2S, depending, and catch them off guard with that. So it just depends on how you will go about it. And even then, if you decide to throw the card down and you do this, you can do that and mix them up. Or if they're too afraid, again, you can just go into this and just go for the low misfiner while you're grounded. So it's like you have some opportunity to apply some level of pressure, but it's hard to perform because of how somewhat inconsistent with his where the card might be positioned at. That's what I mean. So I think that's most of the things that I touched upon with this gameplay. Then the combo routes that you can go with Johnny. Now, his combo routes, I would say they're not that easy to pull off. At least the ones that require counter hits, some of them are very difficult to pull off to get the more optimized combos with Johnny. So, just to get it over with, you can do that. But instead, if you want more damage, I would say so you get 201. Now, this combo route is actually difficult because of the dependence of the, again, position of where the opponent might be. So if they're not exactly close enough to the wall, you won't get the wall splat. You get something else. You get that. If you get it like that, you're good. But if you do it too early with the misfinders, you might not get the 201 damage that you want. So again, it depends on position. So if you're doing it too quickly, or if the enemy is too far away, you may not even get what you want. Never mind. There is a chance that it fails because maybe the target is not too close to the wall to get the wall splat. I know this because I've done it multiple times, and it fucked me over multiple times. Just that for some reason now it's working because I think I'm moving the character a bit too forward to the corner, and that's probably why it's working. So if you do it that way, you get the more optimized combo routes. Now, if you don't feel like that's too hard for you and you don't want to go into this, which now it fucks up. See what I'm saying? I hate this. If you find that to be too difficult, you can just go for a much easier combo route that I think it's easy to pull off. That I messed up just now. So you get 9 less damage, which is a lot depending on the fight that you're in. But this combo does not require you to throw the card down from vault, or you don't even need to vault to really do it. To do this combo, all you need to do is just do close slash into 2H, and then as you do those two things, you go into the high misfiner, and then you dash cancel into it. And once you do, you go for 5K into 6K into Insenga. Or if you feel like you don't want to do that, you can just do mid misfiner and do that. But don't do what I did, what I messed up in. So you can do that, and if you find that to be easier, you can pull that off. If you go with the Ansenga in the beginning, depending on the range, you can probably go for 5k, but since I'm too far away, I can't pull it off. So you can just do that instead if you want. You don't really get much out of the combos from Nsenga as a starter. You get that, or you get that instead. Or if you want a little bit more damage, you can just finish it off with another Senga, and that's it. But it is difficult to get more damage across if you're not close enough to the corner.
Positive bonus. Positive bonus.
So there's basically three ways you can go about it, but as long as you're close enough to the corner, you can pick up from Nsenga and do more damage. But if you're in the mid screen, you're not gonna get much out of it. Now on counter hit combos,
Positive bonus.
you won't get as much damage if you do counter hit with Nsenga, but again, if you're in the mid stage, at least you're able to carry enough to the corner to do a combo like that one.
Positive bonus.
But if you are closer to the corner, then of course you get more damage. Now, if you were to, let's say, get a counter hit with either forward slash or 2S, which is your ways to poke your targets from mid distance, you can still get pickups from 2H.
Positive bonus. Positive bonus. Positive bonus. Positive bonus. Positive bonus. Positive bonus.
So those were a few ways you can go about doing the... Okay, a little FYI, I made a mistake in the video where I stated that you can combo from counter hit 5S and 2S into the Volt deal throw. You can't do that actually. Someone in the comments actually told me that, or at least on the ones that the video that I'm going to probably take down, and may put this one up instead. And yeah, you can't do a combo from counter 5S into 2S. Or should I say 5S and 2S cannot combo into your Vault into your card throw. You can't do that. So instead, I'm going to showcase something else that you can do from one of the two counter hits and illustrate exactly how that works. Okay, so instead, what you could do instead to get a combo from counter hit 5S or counter hit 2S is you do this instead. That's what you can actually do with either of the two counter hits. It's not a lot. The one with the forward slash, counter hit forward slash, you get something cool from it. and it does deal some damage. And if you're near enough to the wall, that combo will work efficiently. Now, like I stated, if you get close enough to the target, you can do more damage and change the combo route.
Positive bonus. Positive bonus.
So yeah, that's it. That's most what you can really do with either counter forward slash and counter 2S. Uh yeah, that's about it. Moving on.
Positive bonus.
Something like that, for example. Now instead of the 5S and 2S, now with the fatal counters with 5H and 6H, and even with 2H, you have some devastating combos you can perform. There are some easier ones, and then I'm gonna go into the harder ones as I finish with the easier ones.
Positive bonus. 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 Positive bonus.
Now for 2H, I would say this is the most inconsistent means of applying like optimized combo, because depending on where you're placed with 2H on counter hit, you may get different results. So let me just show you a few inconsistencies with it, so that way you get an idea, so that when you start playing Johnny, you at least have an idea of what you're looking out for. For example, if you do it too close, the Volt will actually get yourself the cross up instead. And even if you're too far away, there's a chances that you might still get the cross up.
Positive bonus.
So from there, the only way I made sure that it worked was that if I delayed the card throw from Volt, so that way the target was already falling back down slightly so that they can get hit by the card, and they'll still be facing the direction that I want them to face.
Positive bonus.
Of course, that's not the more optimized combo with 2H. This is how you perform a more optimized combo with 2H. Which is not that.
Positive bonus. Positive bonus.
You get the idea. The particular combo routes with 2H is by far the hardest. Not because of the execution barrier, but because of the inconsistency with how you're positioned with Johnny and where the opponent is at. There are times where if the opponent is blocking and let's say they attempt to attack and you get the fatal counter from 2H, let's say if you were to do
Positive
That's the
bonus.
game.
you may end up getting even more damage across the field if you were to do it this way. I don't know why that happens when you attack the target and they are about to attack you, they try to retaliate in some way, and you get more damage across the board. I don't know if that's something that's usually in the game, I'm not too sure. But the fact that you get more damage if you were to go into a block string and they attempt to attack you and you go for 2H. But either way, point is, 2H is very inconsistent and the damage output you're getting it will be different depending on the situation. So there's that. Now I haven't really touched upon a lot of other mechanics. Like for example, I haven't touched on Roman cancels uh in depth really, in my opinion. And when it comes to wall assault, you're really only getting much in terms of, again, if you're applying these attacks, and if you're too far away, then you can apply and getting wall assault from there. And of course, charging it, it's, you have something from there, but it's not exactly something that you would always apply, because again, even with the ability to gain back your barrier, or your, sorry, not your barrier, your burst gauge quickly, it's not something that you'll just abuse whenever you can or whenever you want, because of the fact that you're not just getting the burst back immediately. But the most you can probably get out from doing burst wall assault stuff is maybe doing, let's say if you get a counter hit from 5k.
Positive bonus. Positive bonus.
And if you get, let's say, 6H raw and you get a counter hit, then you're really not gonna attempt to do that. Like you're not gonna attempt to go for the wall assault unless, let's say, you believe they're going to go for a burst, uh, like maybe mid between a combo. Then yeah, I guess you can go for wall assault.
Positive bonus. Max. Positive bonus.
Like something like that, I guess you can probably go for a bit of damage. But yeah, that's about it really. I haven't really touched on either on the overdrives, like trying to use it in combos. Of course, if you want max damage, you want to use overdrive once you're about to finish on the wall splatting, or if you are using it in between combos for whatever reason. Like you can go for it if you want, but I'm just illustrating what you can possibly do in terms of combo damage and combo like execution, what you should be going for with Johnny. At least what I assume. Again, this is just beginner. This is like day one for me, labbing out Johnny. There probably might be other stuff that I might end up coming across in online matches later down in the future. Did I say later down in the future? Man, my English is terrible. And yeah, that's it really. So if you liked what you watched, please don't leave a like, or I don't know. Fuck, you can do whatever you want.